Okay, 3.7 part 1. There's a formula here for slope. What is slope? It's a number, a ratio that describes the steepness of a line. It seems like no matter what field you're going to go into, the steepness of a line is going to come into play. Even if you're not, even if you're part of the workforce that doesn't have anything to do with slope, man, did I see a lot of people analyzing or trying to analyze the steepness of a line this year during the pandemic when we're all trying to be data scientists and we're all trying to look at the numbers, and since we can't believe anything we see on Facebook or we can't believe anything we see on the news, we have to do our own research. When you do your own research, if you see these graphs and you have no idea what the heck they mean, then you have you can't formulate your own opinion on the matter. So yeah, it always kind of cracks me up when someone asks the question, when will we use this in life? And it's like, well, when won't you use this in life? I know it seems very vague, but you really need to have an understanding of what these lines mean. Okay, so to find the steepness of a line, you take the difference in y's over the difference in x's. Those are 2 points on a line. Sorry, those 2 points, they're on a line, they're on a graph. That'll give you the steepness of the line. Sometimes they give you signs like the grade of the hill. Certain grades, certain weights can't go up the hill. That number, that percent, ties in with slope. All right, let's do the example. We have a point at 3,1. I'm going to graph it. You don't have to. I just want to show you how it looks on a graph. 3 is an x, 1's a y, negative 2 is an x, 5's a y. There's a point at 3,1. There it is. There's a point at negative 2,5. There it is. Then there's a line that goes through that point, goes through those points. There's a number, a ratio, a fraction that will describe the steepness of that line. So how do we find it? Phone knows the formula, right? Yeah, it's right here. Okay, difference in y's. Now, you don't necessarily have to take, it says y sub 2 and x sub 2. Do those first. That doesn't necessarily mean pick out the second one. What I normally do, I just go straight across from left to right, 1 minus 5. Okay, those are my y's. I'm going to put that on top. I don't necessarily need to do 5 minus 1. Sometimes I feel like going back and forth like that confuses you more than just going y minus 5, or 1 minus 5. On the bottom, be 3 minus a negative 2. Watch your negatives. I wish my bank would make as many negative mistakes as you guys do. Like when they're looking at how much debt I'm in, like negative, like Davidson's negative $100,000, right? I wish they'd mess up that negative. Make it a positive. I wake up one morning and I have $100,000 in my bank account. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? The negatives matter. Okay, you gotta watch them. All right, so 1 minus 5 is a negative 4. Again, if I had $1 and I had to borrow $5, now I'm negative $4 in debt. Or I guess it's $4 in debt. 3 minus 2, minus a negative 2. Whenever you see the minus like that, it turns into a plus sign. Add the opposite. So the steepness of this line is negative 4/5. The negative meaning it's going downhill, going from left to right, going downhill. So that would be, the trend is going down, right? If we had this many COVID cases and then this many COVID cases the next day, and you did a trend line, and you could see, right, oh my gosh, they're going down. Okay? Now, if you were kind of being a doofus about it, you might look at this and be like, but from this end over here, right to left, it's going up. Okay, it doesn't work like that, okay? Again, you'll have some uneducated person on Facebook looking at the same set of data and be like, nuh-uh, this is going up, because they didn't pay attention in Davidson's math class. Yeah, that negative is telling us it's going down. We read it going from left to right. See, it's important. The next two equations, I'm going to put them up here and then I'll talk about them. Actually, I'm going to do that differently. Okay, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Slope-intercept form. What are the two main ingredients when we talk about slope-intercept form? Two main ingredients. What are the two main ingredients in making blueberry pancakes?
Flour and milk.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, if the blueberries aren't important, then would if you're making blueberry pancakes,
Yeah.
blueberries would have to be important.
Yeah, exactly. If you're making blueberry pancakes, the blueberries will have to be important, right? Let's say we're not making them from scratch. Then it's just pancake mix, right? So the two main ingredients for blueberry pancakes is blueberries and pancake mix. You guys follow me? What's the two main ingredients for slope-intercept form? Slope and intercept, right? So it's not trying to trick you. The two main ingredients, the two main things you need is slope and intercept. M is the slope. Got what some Italian guy said. M is going to stand for slope. He wasn't thinking about us English people over here, American people over here speaking English. And then B is the intercept, not just any old intercept. There's two different types. What type is the B? Is it the x-intercept or y-intercept? You guys remember? It's the y-intercept. Good. So slope-intercept form, in order to graph slope-intercept form, you need to know the y-intercept, which is the b. It's a constant in that equation. And you need to know the m, the slope, which is that coefficient, that multiplier on the x. Two main ingredients to graph slope-intercept form, the slope and the y-intercept. Point-slope form. What do you think the two main ingredients are for point-slope form? What are the two main ingredients for chocolate chip pancakes?
Chocolate chips and pancake mix.
There you go. Two main ingredients.
Point and slope.
The point, yeah, that's the point on the line, and the slope of that line. Point on the line and the slope of that line. So m is the slope. Again, that doesn't really change. M is the slope in the slope-intercept form, and m is the slope in the point-slope form. Okay, so slope is like, if I'm going to make pancakes, I got to have pancake mix. If I'm going to graph a line, I have to have slope. And then the point. The point comes from this x sub 1 and y sub 1. So whatever numbers are there. Keep in mind that the negative is built in. That minus is built into the formula. Okay? So if this happened to be like a y minus 1, the y would actually be a 1. Okay? If it was a y plus 1, that means they did a minus and negative, which means the y would be a negative 1. It's a little confusing there at times. I'll show you what I mean when we do our assignment. Okay, speaking of assignment, I'm going to do this assignment on graph paper. So if you have graph paper, get it. If you don't have graph paper, go get it. It's on your supply list. For you guys in class here, I have some. Find it. All right, the assignment, page 207, 1 to 5 all, 6 to 26 evens. First assignment of the year. Give you a little pep talk here. Coming out of winter break, a lot of times people, it really takes them a while to get going. All right, you dig yourself a hole, and you make it hard on yourself to get a decent grade the second semester. You dig yourself a hole, then it's dark and gloomy, and you just can't wait for spring break. Then spring break gets here, and you're still in a hole, and then it's kind of bright and getting warmer outside, and you see the exit, and you're just like, oh, well, D- ain't that bad. Summer break's tomorrow, so who cares? Okay, and then you end up with a grade that you're not proud of later on down the line. So make sure we're staying on task, staying up on our assignments here as we get going in the second semester. Okay, find the slope. 4, 5, and 6, 15. How do we do it? Slope. Slope's like steepness of a line. Okay, how do I find the steepness of the line that goes through these points? Well, there's like a formula, right? There is a formula. Find the difference in y's over the difference in x's. So that's 5 minus 15. 5 is a y, 15 is a y. 4 minus 6, 4 is an x, 6 is an x. By the way, I get a lot of people who they want to subtract 4 and 5 and 6 and 15. That doesn't work. Okay, that's wrong. Don't do that. They'd put like 4 minus 5 and 6 minus 15. That would be incorrect. We're taking the difference in y's over difference in x's. Most of your errors are going to come from writing it down wrong or just subtracting wrong. Okay, let's write it down right. Let's subtract right, and we'll be good. 5 minus 15, it's a negative 10. 4 minus 6 is a negative 2. And simplify. Negative 2 divided by negative 10 divided by negative 2 is 5. So the steepness of the line that goes through those 2 points is 5. Number 2, they give you a graph. They also give you the points on this graph so we can use the formula. But I want to take this opportunity to show you how you can just count here using rise over run. First off, is this slope, is the steepness of this line going to be positive or negative? Negative. It's going downhill left to right, right? Okay, that's important. Okay, again, the correct answer would be negative. It's going down. An uneducated person looking at some data, right, would share some meme on Facebook misleading everybody saying it's going up. Okay, let's be educated. Now it's going down left to right. Okay, it's negative. Quick question, what if it was going straight across? What if there was like no slope, no steepness, flat ground?
0.
It'd be 0, right? No slope meaning 0. What if it was straight up and down? Like, man, that's steep. So steep I can't even put a number to it. Straight up and down, what slope would that be? Undefined. Yeah, straight across meaning there is no slope, right? Easy trucking there. Okay, I don't have to worry about no hills or anything. Okay, straight across. Now, what if I'm a trucker and I come to a hill that's steep, right? You're just like, no.
That's not.
I don't have a number to describe how steep that line is. Okay, which is why we call it undefined. That's just so steep I can't even describe it. It's straight up and down.
Physics.
All right, so it's negative slope. So know that going in. It's a negative slope, and then I can just count. Go from corner point to corner point, where it crosses a nice, neat corner. Okay, and just counting, I'm going down. So rise over run, I'm going down. Down 2, over 1. Anytime I'm going left to right, it's positive. So down 2, meaning negative 2. Over 1 to the right 1 would be a positive 1. If it went left 1, it'd be a negative 1. And the two negatives would make a positive. But in this case, the steepness of the line is negative 2. Questions on how to find slope? About half your assignment is that. It's finding slope. Okay, kind of talked about this in our takeaway. Explain why you think slope-intercept form makes sense as a name for y equals mx plus b. It would be like me asking, explain why blueberry pancakes is a good name for pancakes with blueberries in them. Right? Why is slope-intercept form a good name for y equals mx plus b? Because it takes the slope and it takes the intercept, right? And it's the same idea for point-slope form. Why is it a good name? Why is point-slope form a good name for y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1? Okay, again, it'd be like me asking, why is chocolate chip pancakes a good name for pancakes with chocolate chips in them? Right? So I want you guys to do that on your own. Tell me why. Why is it a good name? Nice catch. Need me to explain it again? It's a simple concept, but you might not understand what it's asking. Okay. Why do you think slope-intercept form makes sense as a name for y equals mx plus b? The analogy is, why is blueberry pancakes a good name for pancakes with blueberries in them? Well, because it's because it is a pancake that's made with blueberries, right? So that it's a form that's made up of the slope and the y-intercept. Within the name, it tells you what the main ingredients are. It tells you exactly what it is. Now, sometimes in math they do this. They call it something like, they name it after somebody, right? The Pythagorean theorem. Okay, they make it, they honor somebody by attaching a name to it. Okay, I guess they could have done that here. Could have named it like Super Fun Glitter Fest form, right? That would be a cool name, but it wouldn't really tell us much. Like blueberry pancake, we could call those like, I don't know, fruity, blue, flat breakfast food. I don't know. That'd be a cool name, right? It kind of describes what's going on, I guess. Ready for number 4? Griff, you ready for number 4?
Yeah.
All right. Gavin, you ready for number 4? All right, let's go then. So we're going to graph and then compare and contrast. Graph and then compare and contrast. So I'm gonna switch the screen here. Oops. And I'm going to help you graph this. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so on number 4, you're graphing it. The first equation is y equals 2x plus 5. Now, hopefully remember here. If not, I'll help explain. Where do we start? If the equation is y equals 2x plus 5. What form is it in? It's in slope-intercept form. Where do we start? Do we start with the 2? Do we try to map out a slope here, or do we start with the intercept? Do you remember? 2's the slope. But what does that mean? I put a point at 2 or something? Or you guys remember? Where do I start?
5 on the y.
Good, yeah. So we do remember. 5 on the y. So that's a y-intercept. That tells me exactly where it crosses the y-axis. So you're drawing yourself a plane, a coordinate plane, and you're going to put these lines on that coordinate plane. Put them both on the same plane. Okay? So there's a point there at 5. And then the slope is 2. So that's up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. I can use the slope to map it out. I'm out of room, so I'm actually going to go down 2 to the left 1, which would be the same slope as going up and to the right. So there it is. The next one is y equals a negative 1/3. A negative 1/3 x plus 5. Same idea. I don't start with a slope. If I start with a slope, I don't know, what point to count from or whatever. I got to start with the y-intercept. Got to start with a point and then map out the slope. Slope being negative, that means I'm going down and then to the right. And again, I can use slope to map it out. So there we go. I have 2 lines. On the same plane. So now you just need to compare and contrast them. Okay? Now that's something we've been doing our whole life. My babies know how to compare and contrast things, right? When I give Xavier 5 Cheerios and I don't give Eliza anything, guess what she does? She compares and contrasts. And then she does this. Ah! She just yells at me. It's not a cry, it's literally just a yell. I compared how many you gave Xavier to how many you gave me. And now I'm mad. So compare and contrast these lines. How are they similar? How are they different? You guys can do that on your own. Okay, you've been doing it for years and years and years. My 14-month-old babies can do it. How are they the same? How are they different? How are they the same? We got, anybody?
Cross 5.
Same y-intercept. They both cross a 5. How are they different?
I was getting ready to say one's a bit steeper than the other.
Yeah, one's steeper than the other. That's good. Aiden?
One's positive slope, the other one's a negative slope.
There you go. If you put that stuff down, you'd get it correct. Well done. All right, going back here. Number 5, error analysis. So let's learn from your classmates' mistake here. The point is 8, negative 2, and 8, 10. Your classmate tried to find the slope of the line that goes through those 2 points. Where did he or she mess up? Look at it closely. It's a common mistake. Aiden?
The X's are on top instead of the Y's.
Good. The X's are on top instead of the Y's. We have to have the Y's on top. It's the difference in Y's over difference in X's that tells us the steepness, the slope of the line. Do I need to repeat that? You guys got it? Okay, I'm moving on to the next page. Six through 12, you're doing the same exact thing, finding slope. Same exact thing, finding slope. Be careful. I'd hate for you to do all those wrong. Okay. So, just be real diligent, especially at first. Okay, and then from there, it's just basically like a muscle memory. 14 through 18, we're graphing. That's why you got the graph paper. I think we know how to do slope-intercept form, 14 and 16, but I want to talk about 18 real quick before we go. And then we can talk about, we can start from 18 and go on, and then I want you guys to do the middle. So maybe turn your paper over, and let's do 18 through the rest of them on the back. And you guys can do the middle ones on your own, I do believe. Okay, 18, what form is 18 in? There's only two types, right? Huh?
Point slope?
Yeah, that's in point slope form, which means I need a point and a slope. There are my ingredients. I need that to graph it. So what's the point here, right? What's the point of this line? What's the point that line goes through? Three, kinda.
Is it negative 3?
No. But thanks for your try. Yeah, Gavin?
Negative 3, negative 3.
Getting closer. Yeah, when I'm asking you for a point, it's an XY coordinate, right? It's not just one number, it's two numbers. The first number is an X, the second number is a Y. So Gavin said negative 3, but remember that negative is built in. That negative is built in to the formula. So my point's not negative 3 and negative 3, it's 3 and 3. Yeah, that negative is built in both spots. Okay? So it's actually a positive 3 and a positive 3. So that is where I start. You're making a graph. Right now you're making a coordinate plane, XY axis coordinate plane, and you're going to put a point at 3, 3. What's the slope? It's still that number, that coefficient. So the slope, you tell me guys, let's go. 1 over 3. So I can use those ingredients to graph it. Put a point at 3, 3. Should look something like this. And go up 1 over 3. Questions or repeats on number 18? Some of you guys are still working. I'll give you a little bit of time. Okay, number 20 is an open-ended question. It just wants you to graph a line, any line, as long as it has a slope of 3. So any line, as long as it has a slope of 3. So that first point, just pick one. Doesn't matter where it goes. As long as it has a slope of 3, it doesn't matter where that first point is. So let's see. Doesn't matter where. Why not just put it right in the middle? Let's go up 3, over 1, boom, done. (22), as long as it's undefined, doesn't matter where that goes. What's the undefined slope look like? Horizontal, vertical, straight across, straight up and down. Vertical, straight up and down. Good. So I'm going to make a plane. And undefined means it's so steep I cannot describe it with a number. It's undefined. All right, 24, almost there, guys. 24, multi-step one here, so I want to do it. What is the slope of the line? So let me read it. Equation P equals negative 1/3 d plus 1 represents the pressure P in atmospheres. A scuba diver feels d feet below the surface of the water. What is the slope of the line? Anybody? Say it out loud. Slope of this line. Yeah, negative 1 over 33. Got to squint a little harder. And what does the slope represent? Slope is a rate of change. Okay? So the rate of change in, in the steepness of a line, or the rate of change in this case, we're talking about the atmospheres. So rate of change in atmospheres. What's an atmosphere? I don't really know. But I do know that negative 1/3 over 33 is the rate of change in atmospheres. Sounds like something we need to ask our science teacher, huh? Some sort of pressure underwater. What's the y-intercept? In this case, a p-intercept. Can we see that? Uno, right? For my Spanish-speaking friends. It's 1. And it represents... The y-intercept always represents in this case, the atmospheres when x is 0. So the atmospheres when x, but it's not x, it's d in this case, and d stands for depth. The atmosphere where the depth is 0. So if the depth is 0, describe that to me in more of a layman's fashion. If you're on the water and you're at depth 0, what does that mean? You're on the surface of the water, exactly. Okay. All right, so you have 26 to do, and then the rest of them, we are out of time. Thanks for your attention.